Cross Ice Pass, episode 18. I'm your coach, Steve Mosier, and I gotta say, it's been a pretty amazing week. I'm recording this on Saturday. The episode's coming out on Monday. Sorry for that, but there's a big thing happening Sunday in Detroit, and I really have to put some focus into my hometown. Listen, hey, here we are. We're back. It's cold. It's a real winter. There's been real winter weather. I know everyone wants to complain and give a big middle finger to everything they can. But listen, if you grew up in the North, if you live in the North, and you were here in the before the last 5 to 10 years, it's always like this. It should always be consistent weather. 20 to 30 degrees, the high is pretty normal. That's the way I'm used to. The thing that I love that it's doing, and I think everybody in the Hockeyverse can kind of understand this, is that people are outside skating again. Something that I got to admit, loving this sport, I'm really worried that the thing that was built in nature is going to lose that someday. And I got to say, it's really amazing to see people's ODRs freezing over, people's ponds freezing over, people's lakes freezing over, so that people can get the experiences and the amazing stories that I was able to have as a child. And they can either reenact that as an adult and remember those great moments they had, or they can bring their kids along and show them as well. UBS Arena that houses the New York Islanders, they have this thing called the Park, which is like a pond hockey little extravaganza, and that's been doing really well because it's been pretty cold. So the ice has been able to freeze over. On that, I'm wearing my Detroit Hits Harder hat from my friends at Hit Club Hockey. Everyone should definitely check them out. They're a Michigan-based company that was built around the pandemic. They're all minor league college hockey guys, so and they really love the Motor City, and they really love the sport of hockey. So I love supporting them and talking about them. Sunday, it's upon us in Detroit. I know I'm here in New York City, living the Brooklyn dream, the New York dream that has been talked about for so much and all this stuff. And of course, my friends that are close to me are going to realize that I'm a Giants fan. Yes, I was born in Detroit. I still root for the Pistons, the Red Wings, and the Tigers. But when I was a kid, I was torn between Lawrence Taylor and Barry Sanders. If the Giants were playing the Lions right now, I would be rooting for the Giants. But instead, my hometown team, the Lions, are, for once, after 35 years, they have a playoff win under their belt, and they're playing Tampa. The thing that's cool is that Tampa has to come up north to the cold. Of course, they're under a roof. I get that. The Buccaneers, the Lightning are going to be playing the Red Wings at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. The Lightning have released this kind of cool jersey. It's a white jersey that has a lot of pirate paraphernalia on it. I am hoping and praying that they wear it Sunday night, because I think that's really cool that two of your pro teams come all the way up from the swamp to the nice chilly winter that Michigan likes to have. So hopefully next time we talk, the Lions will have a win. Hopefully the next time we talk, the Red Wings will jump over the Lightning in the standings, and we'll be back to normal in Detroit and Michigan, and rooting for the Detroit sports. Today, I was going to record. I woke up early and I'm like, Saturday, I'm just going to focus on cross ice pass. And I did. I got sucked in to the Hockeyverse, the hockey world. And I couldn't start my episode because there were so much great things happening as I was just like, before I could even like start the microphone. It was Hockey Day in Canada today. All Canadian teams played each other, which is very cool. Jets beat the Senators. The Leafs lost again. And of course, the Battle of Alberta happened. It was kind of a back and forth game, but it wasn't a usual fighting game. There wasn't a lot of penalties. But the Oilers, man, wow. The Oilers came out of nowhere at the beginning of the season. Everyone kind of wrote them off. I still don't think they're a Stanley Cup winning team. I think that they're hot right now. I don't think they're the defense that they have and the goaltending they have will really get them over the hop. I think that they need to go and be smart and go through the trade deadline and get somebody, maybe Marc-Andre Fleury, maybe Gibson. I don't know. I also think that they could use another stud on D, or even a guy that's just hard to play against on D, because they don't have those yet. So, of course, the sad part about all of this was that since there's 7 Canadian teams, one Canadian team was left out of playing another Canadian team. And unfortunately, that was the restructuring and rebuilding Montreal Canadiens got to play the Boston Bruins, the heated rivalry that we all know about. But 9-4, it was I don't know. It was the Bruins are again on fire, and the Canadiens just didn't have anything to prove against them. One thing I want to talk about for Hockey Day in Canada, because I got to see it a few times. Thankfully, ESPN Plus gives us kind of access to what's going on Sportsnet and TSN and things like that because they connect to those. But can I just stop and talk about Ron MacLean? Like, ever since I was a kid in Detroit, because we had CBC, so I could see Hockey Night in Canada. Man, that guy is so freaking awesome. He's just like one of those people, one of those hockey personalities. You're just like, man, I'd love to have a beer with that guy and just pick his brain on all these stories and all the experiences and knowledge that he has. He's so knowledgeable. You can see his love for the sport. You can see it in his voice. You can see it in his face. You can see it in his mannerisms. He loves his sport. He loves his country. And it's really hard to see that because we don't have, I feel like there's not too many in America in American sports that we have a person like that. And I know for some reason in the Don Cherry documentary that's on Amazon Prime, you can watch both episodes. I think it's 2 long episodes. And Jared Kiso, who plays Shorzy, of course, it plays Don Cherry. It was way before Letterkenny and all that. Highly recommend it. But man, they definitely hid Ron MacLean off into the distance because they wanted to make Don Cherry to seem like he was the GOAT. But I'm sorry, Grapes. Ron MacLean is the GOAT of hockey media. He's the GOAT. Like there's no other person that is any better than Ron MacLean. All-Star game. We've got we've locked in our All-Stars. We've locked in our team captains. We've locked in our celebrity captains. Because I waited to record today. I got to see all that. They're going to pick the 4 teams are going to pick their players February 1st. The skills comp is going to be different this year, which I'm kind of happy about because last year, I don't know. I think the skills for hockey has gotten, it's so aggressive now with costumes and all this other stuff. And I mean, listen, that stuff's fun and it's great to see, but I want to see hardest shot. I want to see who's the fastest. I want to see the skills of our game. And I really like that they're doing this, the skills where now the players are going to compete in multiple skills to get points to become the overall winner and get a nice, a nice $1,000,000. The thing is, I thought about after that is pretty funny because I wanted to buy something from Canada as a hockey fan. Sometimes we do that. And I was just like, man, where's the dollar at right now in Canada? Man, did I have to see that? I hope that whoever wins this $1,000,000 in Toronto for the All-Star game, I hope they get a million US, because otherwise it's going to be 750,000 Canadian dollars. Because man, that's a big chunk of change off of $1,000,000. So kind of curious about that. But the captains are Team Matthews has Bieber, of course, because Bieber and Matthews are buddies. His assistants, Morgan Riley. Team McDavid is with Will Arnett, who's hilarious and a big hockey guy. And the assistants, Drysdale. Team McKinnon is with Tate McRae, who has been seen a lot in Calgary at a lot of games. And the assistants, Kel McCarr. Finally, rounding it up is Team Hughes, who I want Alex DeBrincat to be on because I kind of want it to be the U.S. team, because Team Hughes is co-captain by Jack and Quinn, and their celebrity captain is Michael Bublé. I think everyone should definitely get on X and kind of see the posts that they had, because Bublé's is pretty funny. Because I think his wife or girlfriend or whatever responded in the background. It was pretty funny. So it's going to be an awesome All-Star weekend. I think the PWHL are announced their rosters for the 3-on-3 tournament they're doing. So just because the NHL is on vacation doesn't mean hockey is over. Yes, it's going to be an interesting weekend because also the Pro Bowl / flag football game / skills for football is happening as well. I don't know why the NBA just didn't throw themselves into it, but their game's happening on the 18th after the Super Bowl. So definitely watch that. Definitely watch that event. Don't worry, folks. That weekend will also still have college hockey, minor league hockey, junior hockey, and a lot of that stuff is getting into the playoffs nowadays, especially youth hockey. And if you're gonna check things out, if you're gonna go to if you really need an NHL game, go support your local high school, go support your local rink, and just watch a game. Go buy some popcorn, and yes, it's not going to be Connor McDavid skating, but this is what we need. The growth of the sport is not just watching the NHL game. This week's happy, surprising, not surprising, pretty unusual. Happy. Marc-Andre Fleury got his win to be second all time. I don't know if he has a few years on him, but it's going to be hard for him to catch Brodeur. But as we know, as we know for goaltenders and things like that, he's definitely going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. It's going to be wild. When he retires, it's going to be pretty fast. When he ends up getting that jacket and ends up in the Hall of Fame in Toronto. Again, big fan of Marc-Andre Fleury, with the exception of Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals in 2009 against my Wings. But other than that, gotta love Flower. The guy's just so good, and there's nothing you hear bad about him. It's pretty amazing. Wings are doing very well. Of course, I'm happy about that. They lost to the Canes, but they have climbed in the standings, and earlier in the week, they in fact surpassed Toronto, because Toronto has been nosediving into the standings. But thankfully today, on Saturday, the Flyers, the Pens, the Devils, the Leafs, and Caps all lost. So things are still tight in the Eastern Conference, and I think that's going to happen. I'll be curious if that ever changes, because I think it's just going to happen through the whole rest of the season. today, Jonathan Quick had a very heartfelt welcome back to LA. It was really amazing. It looked like I couldn't tell if he was crying or not. I'm not going to sit here and be like, guy was crying or whatever. No, but I mean, he spent a lot of time there. He put a lot of effort into that city, put a lot of effort into that team. Has a lot of probably, of course, very close friends and family still there. So it was pretty great. I always think it's great when these teams kind of welcome back their former players and then let them go kick the crap out of each other on the ice, because that's the difference of hockey and other sports, is that you leave it on the ice and everything off the ice is a different scenario. Patty Maroon also got a heartfelt welcome back this week in Tampa, and that was pretty cool because you got to love the big rig. The guy's awesome, great personality. But for Jonathan Quick, he looked pretty emotional. Unfortunately, the Kings beat him 2-1. But then there's some other things I'm super happy about that I'm seeing from my guests who have now become some of my, people we kind of text back and forth now, and are becoming. I wouldn't say we're best friends or something like that, but we're definitely becoming. We're becoming hockey compatriots together, and it's pretty great to see people I know winning, having their wins in the hockey community as well. Super happy. My episode 4 guest, Ryan Devine's team, the ECHL, the KC Mavericks, are killing it. Today, Ryan Devine came in with some freaking crazy outfit when he was entering the rink that had like Taco Bell packets all over it or something. It was a wild look, but the guy is a good fighter. He's a hard player. I would never piss him off by telling him I didn't like his outfit. So he can have it all he wants. But the KC Mavericks, they did lose in overtime today, but they just finished up a 10-game win streak. They're one of the top teams in the ECHL right now, and it's pretty awesome to see that. Because I know when I talked to him, it was before he was going in the season, and it was a big step to go from the FPA go from the Fed League and the FPHL up to the ECHL. Most recent episode 17 guest Bart Hull. His son Brendan won a 10U8 tournament in Texas. The thing I loved about seeing the photos on Instagram is that they gave him this massive silver boot as a trophy, which is so baller. It's so Texas. I love it. Congrats Bart to you, and congrats of course to Brendan for that big win. Episode 16 guest Coach Evo, his team, the Shenzhen the Shenzhen Kunlun Red Stars are in the semifinals versus Beijing right now. I get to see, when I wake up in the morning, I kind of see KHL post. I kind of get to see what's going on with his team in China. So close to the finals. Keep it up, ladies. You are so close to that chip, and I can't wait. And I'm hoping that by my next episode, I get to announce that you guys are the champs. So keep it up. Herm Swarcher, our guest in episode 12, and his Danbury hat tricks are back moving up the FPHL standings again, and it's awesome to see. Super pumped for him. Super pumped for the Danbury hat tricks. You can watch FPHL games on YouTube if if you're sad because there's not a lot of NHL games around All-Star. My friends at NYCGHA from episode 7 are going to do their awesome series with the Boston Pride in mid-February, and it just shows their impact to the hockey community. They're continuing to show their impact to the hockey community in the Northeast, and it's pretty amazing what they do, and it's just endless love all around, and I'm proud to see them continually taking it to new heights is difficult, and it's amazing to see that. Surprising. Dun, dun, dun. The other thing, there's so many things that happened today that I'm so happy I didn't record early. Patrick Waugh, first off, Lamoriello fires Lane Lambert, and don't know why. Then he brings in Patrick Waugh to coach the Isles. And at first, I'm like, this is the Detroit Red Wings fan in me. I'm like, I don't like Patrick Waugh. That's a terrible idea. That's a terrible idea. Why would you do that? That's so stupid. But you know, the media person and the thinker of me understands also that Patrick Waugh won the Jack Adams Award for best coach in the NHL. His first year coaching in the NHL. He has since won 2 Memorial Cups with the Quebec Ramparts. He's probably one of the most qualified people to jump into the NHL and coach. I still don't like him. I still remember Chris Osgood and Mike Vernon bashing his face in, but you know what? More power to him. And I know the New York Islanders have been kind of on a weird up and down place right now. And I still want to see the Rangers play the Islanders in the playoffs. So unless it affects the Detroit Red Wings. So on that note, the Rangers, what is going on? The last 10 games, 3-6-1 in their last 10. Panarin or guys Kreider and Zibanejad have kind of quieted out. The Panarin's still doing well, but Trocheck's been kind of the guy to keep him at least alive. And I'm just sorry. I'm sorry, Blue Shirts, but listen, Rangers, the Flyers are catching you. The team that we thought would be at the bottom of the Eastern Conference are catching you. And New York's supposed to hate Philadelphia. And the Flyers and the Rangers play such hard playoff series. And Rangers, you better wake up. You better wake up. Or before you know it, you're going to be staring at the back of the Flyers. Another surprising moment this weekend. Quinnipiac, number 3 Quinnipiac, lost 2 games to number 14 Cornell. That's going to be interesting when it comes to the rankings. Michigan split a 2-game series with the On Fire Spartans of MSU. You know, all the biggest players from the World Junior Championships that are connected to colleges are back. Of course, BC and BU are destroying, so no surprise there. But they didn't have a big matchup this weekend. You know, of course, I root for Penn State because I had Coach Joe on here. I've had Tom Westfall on here, who's one of my closest friends, and I've also skated with the Penn State alumni and stuff. But Penn State, they were in the rankings. They've been kind of diving off. They're now outside the top 20, and they had a couple pretty tough games against Notre Dame this weekend. So, you know, I'm hoping for the Nittany Lions to kind of move forward and see the Penn State hockey program continue to move up. Not surprising, the PWHL games are pretty awesome. Again, when we approach this All-Star game, this All-Star week, the PWHL games are amazing. They're free. They're on YouTube, and the games are good. It's good hockey. It's been good hockey to watch. The coverage is great. They're putting good people behind the microphone, and it's a lot. It's really worth a watch. They have been neck and neck this past week, though. I thought there was. I think there's a lot of 3-2 wins, but that just shows you the compete and the quality of hockey that they're playing. Another not surprising moment, Pride Tape and Pride Nights. A lot of Pride Nights recently, and of course, NHL players are supporting the huge cause, as I've always mentioned they would. They're truly showing the door is open for players and fans from the LGBTQ plus community in this Hockeyverse. Everyone is invited. The door is open. There's no hinges on the door. There's no locks on the door. Everyone is invited. See, it works. Every player, every major player, they're outside of the jerseys. They're putting tape on and everything else. And the players are just telling the NHL, they're basically saying, you know what, we're gonna do this anyway. And I love it, and I think it's amazing. And I think I heard from, some people that, why are these guys having to do this in the first place? Because they want to, and this is showing that they want to. So something as small as stick tape is becoming the juggernaut to this cause, and bravo to that. Unusual. The Wings did their usual game, where every year they have this game where in between periods they have a little get together in Chris Osgood's backyard. Chris Osgood has a little ODR in his backyard, and they have a good time. Mickey Redmond, who, if you're a Red Wings fan, he is a legend when it comes to his TV personality. And he's become this kind of well-known guy for dealing with campfires, outside ODR campfires. There's a really great video of it. Check it out. But for some reason, Mickey gets out there. I don't know how many ginger ales he had in him, but he gets out there on the ice. Ozzy goes in the net. Of course, Ozzy doesn't have any gear on, and Mickey still plays pretty regularly. I think Mickey plays once or twice a week still, and he first shot, boom, right in. We'll call him right in the rings, or something. Hits him right square, and then because he wanted to demonstrate that he could lift the puck or score, he hits him again, and Chris Osgood just takes it like a champ. I love it. It's really funny. It's been on social media. I'm sure you'll check it out. It's very, very funny. This week's the hockey coach who is a designer, the All-Star jerseys. Just like when Patrick Waugh was named the coach of the Islanders, and I'm like, I hate Patrick Waugh. But then it gave me an hour to kind of like, no, this is actually a pretty good move. The All-Star jerseys are so wildly different from past All-Star jerseys. Justin Bieber helped design them. And I've got to admit, they've grown on me. They're very cool. They're very different. And the one thing that really took me over the hump of not liking them was the fact that, remember the Arizona Coyotes and the Aztec design that everyone hated when it came out, and now it's their jersey? Remember when, people hated it's just some of the retro jerseys and stuff like that, and now it's their jersey? It basically just says, I think it's good that, I don't know if this kind of design is going to happen down the road, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. Also, the All-Star jerseys, the one thing that I love the All-Stars and being able to choose from any All-Star on their team, I love that. But I just want to buy my Alex DeBrincat jersey, and I want to know what team he's on. But I have to wait till February 1st to do so. Plus, I don't want to buy the crappy Fanatics one. By the way, I've got this Patrick Kane one behind me. I bought it. Fanatics jerseys are terrible. The Adidas ones, the prime green Adidas ones that are made out of recycled bottles and everything like that are awesome. And it's really sad. Everyone buy them up because they're going away. And when they go away, they're going to be more. So buy them up. So hopefully February 1st, I'll be able to put it in order for an Alex DeBrincat jersey, All-Star jersey, because I think that would be a cool thing to have. Coach's Corner. It's been an interesting weekend. I'm missing tomorrow's game. I have my assistant coaches covering the game, an away game for me, because I really want to check out that Detroit Lions game. And usually I wouldn't miss hockey because I want to go watch a live televised game. But this time I'm going to do it because I have a group of kids currently that aren't really committed to being there all the time. Not all of them, but some of them. But I realized to make a good team, in 2024, I kind of changed up my coaching attitude, and kind of, instead of trying to do things that are teaching them skills, we spent a few months doing that. I coach 16, 17-year-olds. So, and a lot of them have been playing hockey for about five or more years. And it's more about, in the second half of the season, it's more about making and gelling a team. It's less about pushing a system into them. And it's more about, I use a lot of like single word things, like, I use, or single term things like puck support. And puck support doesn't always, so I do a very simple thing that I don't know, maybe parents think I'm crazy for doing this, but I just have them skate in a circle, and there's one puck, and I because they're not vocal, my kids. So I give them the puck and I just make them pass. And if someone passes across and misses someone in the back, the person behind him will support him. A lot of 2-on-1 drills, a lot of like interesting offense. I want to talk about support, offensive support. A lot of the kids, they pass over, they're like, I did my job, and then they like peel off, instead of still driving the net and maybe getting a goal on that rebound. So I'm really trying to like focus on. I'm struggling with trying to find a way for them to work together. I don't think they realize that I'm not expecting them to be best friends with each other. I'm just expecting them to gel as a team, to gel as a group. Back in the day, people that worked together were forced into it, I think. When I was a kid, of course, there was some kids in my teams I liked and didn't like. But, of course, I got jobs that, I didn't like people I worked with, and places I worked at that I did love the people I worked with. But kids nowadays are smarter. They don't get sucked into that. I can't just say, hey, you signed up for this. I gotta force you into liking your team. But kids are smarter than that and don't respond well to that kind of aggression. But they do have this fear of thinking that every day, everything they do is theirs. And that having good support from your teammate and reliving all that tension, I'm kind of seeing that, I'm like, listen, your teammates will support you. If you make a mistake, your teammates will support you. If you take a shot and it misses the net, your far defenseman is going to get the puck that's winding up the boards and try to keep it in so that you get support. And remember, you don't have to go end to end and think that you can, just because you have the puck on your stick, you're going to try to skate through all 5 guys you're opposing. Pass the puck, get it back, move pucks around, support. So I'm really having a bit of a struggle trying to get support driven into them, but I'm mentioning it at every week, at every practice. I'm mentioning it in every talk we have before and after games. Support, and to be vocal. You can't win without being vocal. The last thing I want to mention to that, when it comes to being vocal as a teammate, is that when you watch the NHL, they're not mic'd up. You don't really hear what they're saying. But if you ever have seen a game and you're down on the glass, have you ever gotten that chance that, someone got you a ticket, or you were able to pull some money together to see a game from the glass? You'll see those guys, all they do is talk. Because if my back's in the corner or a guy's coming to demolish me in the boards, I don't know where people are. I don't know who's open. I don't know how I can get out of this situation, and who can help me. So, for all you kids out there, for all you guys playing beer league, communicate. Even if you played minor league hockey or college or something, and you're still playing beer league and blah, 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 open your damn mouth. That's all I'm saying. No one knows where you are until you tell them where you are. And if you really want the puck, you have to open your mouth about it. All right. Today's interview. A couple years ago, I saw something on social media that I thought was such a cool hockey story. This junior hockey player in Canada wanted to make a stick company so that kids that can't afford the equipment have an access point to be able to play. And you know me, I love these moments about hockey is for everyone. I tend to not see too many remarkable stories from young people in my hockey communities. And I don't expect them to have to create those for me, by the way. But this kid really brought me to that Greta Thunberg, the environmentalist happiness to help us all make this sport affordable for everyone. And it took a young person to do that. Zechariah's story is so wild, very cool, but I think you're going to like it. Let's move on to the owner of Swift Hockey. Well, we've got a defenseman born in Oshawa, Ontario, dual citizen in Canada and Jamaica, very recently played in the Ontario Junior Hockey League, the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, Federal Prospects League, played for Jamaica in the 2021 Amerigol Latin Cup, most recently with the Campbellford Rebels. Owner of Swift Hockey, scored $70K for Swift Hockey on the Dragon's Den in Canada, similar to Shark Tank. After presenting Wes Hall of Weshall Investments with a Jamaican national team jersey, his sticks are NHL certified. His story has been featured on The Athletic, NHL News, CBC, CEO Weekly, and tons of other sites and media all over the world. The amazing thing is he just celebrated his 21st birthday in December. Happy birthday and welcome, Zechariah Thomas.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
I'm going to start. There's so many things I want to unfurl and ask you, but I got to ask you my first question that I ask every guest is, what's your fondest hockey memory? And this can be old, new. It can be one or two if you want to give it to me.
No, for sure. You know what? This is so old, but back when I was like 10 years old, we were in Lake Placid tournament, kind of that average tournament that happens every year. And I scored the semifinal winning goal. And that's like the biggest memory I've ever had in hockey. And that was so long ago, I guess 11 years now. So that was kind of the biggest thing I've ever had in hockey.
That's pretty good. I mean, youth hockey wins are always important.
Yeah, especially our team that year had no wins, so that was our our only win. We kind of got to buy to the semis, so that was the biggest thing as a 10-year-old. So,
well, that's super huge. I mean, one thing that is I'm kind of interested about before I really dig into this amazing business story. I want to talk about your playing career, growing up in Oshawa, since it was such a hockey hotbed. How was that kind of how's that community in Oshawa, Ontario, to be a hockey player there?
Yeah, you know what? It's crazy here. Like you can't go anywhere without seeing Oshawa jackets, Oshawa apparel. Oshawa Generals are on every single city bus here. You literally can't avoid it. Growing up, what happened, only reason I got into hockey, I moved from Whitby to Oshawa. I see every single kid having that hockey jacket on and playing mini sticks at recess. And that's kind of how it all started. Every single kid loved hockey. So,
and you're first generation, correct, from Jamaica?
Yes.
Where are your parents from?
My parents are from Jamaica too.
Right. No, I know, but where are they from?
Yeah,
my Jamaica.
Clarendon.
Okay.
Small little city in Jamaica. Both of them are from the same area. They moved at around 15 years old.
That's very cool. I mean, and for the fact that coming from Jamaica to Canada, and then getting a kid into hockey into youth hockey must have been pretty unique experience as well. as well as living in the hotbed of hockey in Oshawa.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That was, I got to thank my parents every day for that, because hockey is, as you know, is so expensive. So
Yeah.
for doing that move and their families doing that move at that time, it was crazy for them to get me in that opportunity.
Yeah. Looking through your stats in your career, you're not a short kid, 6'2" D-man. And usually that ends up a few stick plays are happening with that. But you had like almost no pims. You're pretty clean hockey player, which is a rarity to see. But it's also kind of refreshing to see, because usually you see like a guy has like 100 penalty minutes or something, and he's like, oh, that's nothing. Look at the 300 pims guy. So that's pretty great. But I'm really curious about when you went to this Amerigo Latin Cup. When I was kind of researching your story and things like that, I started really like digging into that. That is such a amazing event, and it seems like when you played, you played against Puerto Rico, Mexico, Lebanon, Brazil, Venezuela, and Argentina. It's a lot of games in a few days.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. You know what? That year we played, it was such a different year. They took our team as we're too good, for the best way to put it. We were too good to compete. So even though we won every game, we weren't allowed to play for the championship contender because our team was too good. We had some ex-pros, AHL players on that year. So it was just kind of a fun experience getting some games in as kind of the Jamaica country. But it was quick games, and it was just firing out games like twice a day.
That's it's got to be such a good it's I mean, I love when I see every, you know, it's nice to know that there's hockey outside of this, out of North America,
Yeah,
outside of Sweden and Finland and Russia and everything. um so, of course, there's always that when it comes to winter sports in Jamaica. There's always the cool runnings thing. Like everyone's always like, "Oh yeah, Jamaica plays hockey." Well, I know they bobsled, so that's always an interesting thing I get to talk about. But the one thing that's wild is that you kind of got to jump around. But I really want to. I'm curious about what brought the idea um, of this affordable gear into your head as a teenager.
yeah, for sure. And the main thing that happened is we're moving. Hockey is so expensive. I was playing minor hockey at 11 years old, dealing with kind of the financial issues as everybody's breaking sticks. And kind of the main moment that really changed, I saw one of my players on my team break their stick, and he was almost in tears. And that was kind of at a young age that really stuck with me throughout everything, where I realized I kind of have to make a difference and do something. And back then I was playing, I had a sport check discount. I was trying to find every sort of discount to help everybody out. And that's, as my e-commerce journey went through, that was kind of the biggest thing that came to me.
Yeah, that's pretty great because, yeah, it's, unless you're really, it doesn't, the money's no object. Like in Michigan, we used to actually jump over to Windsor and things, just to kind of go to the Canadian Tire to get things more affordably, because the
Yeah.
American dollar was a little better. And then there was really not a lot of hockey stores. But I'm obviously a considerable amount older than you, so it was a little different for me. But because I was using wood sticks when I was a teenager. But you know, I'm a designer. That's my day job, and I'm kind of curious what brought upon the name Swift.
Yeah, that's a pretty weird story. What happened, I asked a bunch of kids kind of what was going on. I told them the situation, that I want to start a hockey stick company. So I kind of had a group call with around 20 people. Just said, fire me names out. Whoever gets me the best name, I'll pay you $500. And that's kind of what happened. So they're firing me names for 3 days. We heard kind of the obviously ridiculous names. And at the end of the day, one of those names kind of stuck with me overall. And then obviously searching it up, there wasn't too much competition, which is so major in business where you're not having everybody using Swift name is pretty good. So that's kind of why we stuck with it.
It's a good name. I mean, it's pretty fun too that not only was this idea to have an affordable stick company at your age for people of your age, but also to bring your compatriots, your friends and things into it is pretty awesome. I saw the thing is I saw this a couple years back, because during the pandemic, getting into Instagram and seeing things pop up, and of course being a bit of a hockey addict when it comes to the info that's out there. I saw your thing pop up, and as soon as I went into the site, sold out,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Whoa!" I imagine this is what is that what kind of made you approach trying to find some more investment options for the company and maybe trying to get on Dragon's Den? How did you end up kind of getting into that?
Yeah. Dragon's Den was that was just such a weird coincidence. What happened? I got a one of those spam emails you always get. Uh,
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship kind of magazine email I was kind of applied to for a while. Got that, and it said Dragons Den auditions Toronto. So I do kind of the online form fill out. Kind of, I was really expecting nothing out of it. It was crazy to kind of get a call back within a couple days telling me they want to come to the in-person auditions. And then after the in-person, it was another audition. So that was kind of the strategy there, but it was really just a weird coincidence.
Well, the thing that's also interesting is that the company I design with is also a business strategy company. We actually help strategy, thinkers, for Fortune 500 companies. That's why your story is so interesting to me, for the fact that once I started reading through all these great stories about this kid, winning Dragon's Den. But my favorite part is it says that you watched up to 300 hours of episodes to research as to how to approach that.
Yeah, obviously, it's a weird place for you to study on and kind of understand the game. Growing up as a kid, when back in the day when Shark Tank was on Netflix, that's all I used to watch from 13 years old. I was always kind of a business person. As soon as I kind of got the call that I'm going on Dragons Den, I said, I got to do something. I got to study. I got to figure it out. That's why I sat there watching every single clip possible. I'd be working and it would be on the side of my screen. So
So
it
you
was,
had an entrepreneurial mind at a young age then.
yeah, for sure. I started selling stuff at 13 years old. I got suspended from school for selling hats and bracelets because that's not allowed. I guess, I guess maybe all schools, but especially in Ontario, it's not allowed to sell hats and t-shirts to kids. Then I started my online journey, and then it kind of grew from there.
That's that's pretty amazing, just because most business stories are like, oh, well, I was at Harvard, or I was at Stanford, or I was here, and me and a couple of guys had an idea. And the fact that you were so ahead of it, and are still kind of in that mindset, is pretty amazing. How did you feel about the Dragon's Den moment? How were your nerves leading into that? I know that you gave one of the hosts a Jamaican jersey, and I know he tried out the stick on the show. But kind of walk the listeners through um, your moment leading up to that, and then kind of your presentation.
For sure. Honestly, which is very weird, I did probably 2 days of practice on the actual presentation. Going into that, it was an early morning. I had to be there at 5 a.m., kind of be ready, stay in the booth, and just kind of wait for the moment. And that's kind of, I'm seeing people come in and out upset, didn't get a deal. Some people come out happy. So that's kind of where the nerves began. I wasn't really too nervous being in front of the camera and kind of dealing with that situation overall. But going on Dragon's Den is exactly what it looks like. The set looks, you can't see any cameras, you can't see anything. So I would look like I walked into a TV is the best way to put it.
That's pretty. That's that's. I don't know if I would be nervous either. It probably is a little like just kind of probably shakes you around a little bit. But it's so good that you got that investment from them. It's so good that I see your stick is selling well. There's a lot of things I've been seeing through the media and on social media and things like that. One thing I love is that when I was reading through your about is that you guys have a portion of sales go towards providing sticks to underprivileged youth players and supporting hockey programs in underserved communities. Um, Swift is proving that hockey is for everyone, which I love about that. Tell me some stories about where where has this been creating impact, specifically like in specific communities, and any stories of some of these kids that are being able to use your sticks and use your equipment.
For sure. Obviously, every other day we're getting the craziest emails where parents are thanking us because we created a product that their kid actually likes, compared to buying that $500 stick. A lot of scenarios where we're giving back. It's just my heart, I guess the best way to put it. We're going out there, we're throwing out hoodies, we're throwing out t-shirts, we're giving out every little thing possible, giving sticks away to help kids actually be able to play hockey. It's kind of a daily thing for our business where we're trying to help everybody out. We hear the saddest emails possible on parents who have lost their jobs and lost family members, and it's kind of hurting them financially, and they're kind of thanking us, and we do as best as we can to help every single person.
Yeah, and I mean it's so impactful that you're you're bringing this together, just not for anything in specific. It's just the fact that everyone should be able to play hockey. Everybody should not have a problem with it. And it really hits kind of my heartstrings, just because I didn't start until I was 14 because I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
My parents are just like, we can't afford that. That's impossible. And even in the early 90s, when things were incredibly a lot cheaper than they are now, is intense. And then on top of that, as a coach for the years that I have, we give kids scholarships and things like that, and we try to get them sticks and equipment. Because yeah, it's the kids. It's just like when I was a kid and I wanted the best sneakers or something like that. Kids want the best,
Yeah.
and sometimes that's you kind of have to talk them off the ledge a little bit and be like, hey, you know, you don't need the $350 hockey stick. But the thing
Yeah.
that's great about you guys' company is you guys make a great product that is, under half the cost.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, I'm kind of curious. Let's talk about the actual technology behind your stick, why it's affordable, why people should be buying it, in comparison to the competitors out there.
For sure. Just to sum it up for just everybody, Bauer, CCM, all those companies, their markup is 500%, I would say. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. So me, before this, I was always doing e-commerce and selling hats, every little thing online to be able to fund this sort of business. So after doing a little bit of research and having connections with manufacturers overseas, this was kind of the biggest thing. And I saw what the other companies are, they're getting it less than my price. And our per margins are still 50, 60%. And theirs must be absolutely astronomical. Um, Obviously playing hockey, it was crazy expensive. Sticks were breaking every 40 seconds, especially now because they're trying to make it so light. Sticks are still breaking even faster. So what we did in our blade, we noticed blade is like one of the most common things where the stick's breaking. We added some
Mm-hmm.
extra carbon layers throughout the blade to give it a little bit more durability, but without making it 600 grams. So
That's pretty amazing. I mean, knowing that you guys make that great product, when you came up with this idea, what was a little bit of the research to kind of make sure were you getting a bunch of sticks and trying them out yourself? Like what was the research process like to get the company where you wanted a really high level product?
yeah, you know what? It's all YouTube. That's the best way I can put it. we bootstrapped this from day one. Um, Everything I have learned, the stick design, even this way the stick looks, and every single inch about the business was all kind of created from nothing. Is the best way to put it. We a lot of now we have good employees that have backgrounds in this certain stuff, but when I started all of this, we didn't have anybody really. I had me, myself, and YouTube to research how to do marketing and how to do every little aspect of the business, even creating the website that was done by me originally. So there was a lot of stuff going on to kind of get us to here.
That's pretty amazing. Because that's when you really want something to come through, and when people start a small business, when people follow through with an idea, and for you to be so young and so driven to follow through, not only with marketing, like you said, you did your site. That's the technology that you're dealing with is pretty impressive, and I think that this overpriced industry should be should keep their eyes open, because it's gonna start to really dig in as much as it already is. I mean, I know you guys have some NHL players that are using your products, some minor league junior players. So what do you guys think that the growth of Swift Hockey, what's what's the next step?
For sure. Right now, we're dealing with a pretty decent issue. As you kind of saw, we're sold out. Right now, people are pre-ordering for our products. It's creating something a little different where people are actually reselling our sticks. Now I see sticks on Sideline Swap and all these places. People are reselling our sticks because nobody can get them. That's
Wow.
kind of the biggest thing that's going on, is that I really want to help everybody. I want everybody to have a stick in their hand, but our manufacturers can't keep up, and that's kind of the biggest issue we're having. I want to make
Yeah.
sure everybody's having a stick in their hand. We're supposed to release a new stick in the next couple months or so, kind of a mid kick stick. So we have a lot going on.
So that's interesting you mentioned that, because you guys have a low kick stick now, and I know that's kind of the thing, the low mid. I know like True Hazardous, that's what I usually use as a low, and then the Catalyst is a mid. Um, talk to listeners through kind of what the difference is of like the importance of a low kick to a mid kick stick.
For sure. So a low kick stick is going to kind of give you that more quicker release overall. The pop of the stick is going to pop at the bottom when you're doing quick release shots, snapshots, that type of stuff. The hybrid or the mid kick is what they kind of go for, call it now. That's giving you more of a powerful release. So where your bottom hand is, that's kind of where the whole flex point is in the stick. It's giving you just more powerful release on longer wind up shots, is the best way to put it.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, because I use the low kick because I'm old and lazy. So I like to call myself the bread hole shooter, because
Yeah.
Brett Hull didn't have to do too much to shoot. He had a pretty flexy stick back when flexy sticks wasn't a thing. Now it's the only thing. So
Yeah.
one question that I have, kind of thinking about other things for Swift Hockey. Are you guys thinking about other equipment types in the future? You guys thinking about gloves, other equipment?
For sure. We're toying with a bunch of stuff. The next biggest thing in the industry that we've noticed that's very expensive is skates. Almost ridiculous. Skates are $1,200 now
Yeah,
without the blade. They're not even selling the blade with it anymore.
yeah.
So that's kind of the whole industry. That would be kind of our next point. We've toyed with it a lot of times where we're trying to get a skate out there, but that's a while away. Other than that,
Yeah.
we have gloves. We don't really sell them on our site because of just a lot of reasons, but we do gloves for kind of wholesale deals, team deals. Other than that, we're kind of strictly staying with sticks as of right now.
Is there any like mid-level companies that you've been in touch with that might help you guys kind of push certain things forward? Because the companies I'm thinking of are like glove companies like Eagle, some of those like mid-level companies, or you guys really want to keep it kind of your own thing?
Yeah, we we really want to keep it as close as possible in-house. That's just kind of for growth overall. Just in case
Mhm.
something happens, we want to kind of have our control over the product and the way, because we're really kind of picky with putting a product out that's not going to break or be kind of a crappy product overall.
Right. Yeah, no, that's key. Now, one thing I'm curious about is that you got this entrepreneurial like bug so young. Um, did you go to school for it? Are you going to school for it? Or like, I'm just kind of curious what the next chapter of your entrepreneurial self is,
For
even
sure.
outside of Swift.
For sure. So I've had a pretty crazy story overall with my entrepreneur journey. Grow Just starting. I was 13 years old, as I said, selling hats. When I was 16, or beginning of COVID too, I really started doing with the digging on online businesses. I created probably 15, 20 businesses where it was sold or they're still running now. And that have made me a lot, I'd say almost $1 million as a 17, 18-year-old. After that, because I'm still 18, 17, I spent most of it. um, Kind of went crazy buying cars, buying everything a 17-year-old with that type of money would
Yep.
have. And then, yeah, that was kind of my entrepreneur journey. I ended up putting a lot into Swift, every last dollar into Swift. A lot of these businesses are still running, but it's all, my main goal is to grow Swift as big as possible. Probably another 10 businesses on the side that are funding Swift to the current point, as right now, even though we've been on Dragon's Den, we still haven't received an investment. Sometimes those take 8 years, or maybe we won't even take it at that point.
Yeah, because I mean, don't get me wrong, 70K is a big jump, but you know, if it takes 3 or 4 years, it's gonna it's gonna dwindle in importance for sure. So,
Yeah, for sure.
um,
We're even right now, the best way to put it, we're not at a range where 70,000 would be important to us.
mhm.
What we took on the show is so much different since then. Everything have changed. Um, so
Yeah,
if by the way, we went on in May, and the episode was aired in September. So between then, there's been, obviously we're still pushing on our end. We're still hiring new employees, and then it's just that valuation is very low to us at that point. So
yeah, and I imagine it was more about just the visual of being on TV, being able to talk about your product, being able, because I've seen, it's funny, once I started looking it up, there's a few other like hockey things. I saw some guy had synthetic ice on there. There was a guy that had the stick that never broke or something. Um, Not really sure how that feels. If a stick that never breaks, I don't know if I trust it if it never breaks.
yeah,
Um,
you know what? I know you're talking about Colt hockey. So
yeah,
yeah, Colt, they're not around anymore, but there was a pretty cool idea that it never breaks, but it was just so bottom heavy. I
yeah, yeah.
I saw the Dragons Den episode, and I see them actually trying to break the stick, and it was crazy how it wasn't breaking. At that time, my parents were like, "Take the card." You know what I mean? My kids breaking sticks all the times. We could try it, but it was half the stick was heavy, the other half was light, so it didn't have the same feel as.
Yeah. And I mean, there's something to be said about one thing I love about these composites, because I mean, I'm an old school guy
Yeah,
when it really comes down to it, because I was using wood Sherwoods and wood Montreals when I first started, and then everyone wanted the silver Easton stick that was just the shaft. Um, and then these composites now over the years, even the like low level ones that aren't the $350 ones are so responsive, and they kind of loosen up a little bit. Um, I don't break them that much anymore because I don't try to I don't use the only time you break them is when you use them on somebody. They don't usually break when you when you shoot. So
yeah,
at least for the way I play.
yeah,
But I had a few more PIMs than you did in your career, but that's
yeah,
just the way I played. So, but Zechariah, this is so awesome. Like your story is so big, it's so important um, for kids that can't afford hockey to be able to have access points to something that is still high level, and still amazing, instead of like, oh well, here's some old wood sticks that we found in the basement or something, and try to go out and perform with your, with kids your age and things like that. And I know how kids are. Kids make fun of people, that those kids and stuff like that. And you got a really nice product that's super, it's nice looking. It's got the right tech. I'll have to get myself one here in New York, and be your New York marketer for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, kids, you know what? It's such a weird industry where we could release the same product as the other companies, just with maybe a different graphic on it. But kids need that type of feel overall to have that branding when they're using it, just like how people feel when they're wearing a Louis Vuitton or a nice pair of shoes. They kind of feel that branding overall. That's where we're trying to push for, because our product is very good. Just the price makes a lot of people think that we're releasing a Walmart brand product, a very low end product, when that's absolutely not the case. So
Yeah. We got to get you guys connected to some of those other crazy social media guys that do all the trick shots and stuff.
yeah, exactly.
Seems like Bauer snagged all those people up.
Yeah, that's our team's looking around. They have all of them.
It's like, I'm like, it's so funny when I think about it too, because I'm like, CCM, nope, they don't have them. Nope, True doesn't
Yeah,
have them. It's all Bauer.
yeah,
They use the usual juggernaut, but keep the faith alive. Keep your company moving forward, because yeah, those guys need challengers in business. That's just the way it works, especially in the athletic business. So are you one to kind of close things off here? Are I know you're kind of retired, it says, right? You're probably still playing though, right? I hope. You're
no,
young.
no. I So what happened? I left the Fed. I guess is the best way to put it. Left that league. That was crazy. That wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I left that. I took until December off, I guess, for that season. I was getting calls from every single team possible, USHL, no, all these junior programs for me to come and play for their team. It was kind of a switch situation where I was done mentally. Didn't really love, not really love the game, but I didn't really want to play at that level and do that type of schedule anymore.
Yeah.
After that, it was time for me to kind of retire, is the best way to put it. So I ended up getting calls from all these junior C teams up locally they only play really weekends. So that was kind of something where I took, where they had different offers in their end. For me, it was more like I'm going to the NHL. So they had many different offers, all these teams, for me to come play for them. And I ended up playing a couple games there, and then I broke my collarbone, and that was my first injury almost in hockey for my whole career. And then after that, I haven't touched ice since. And now it's been like a year. I played that Team Jamaica tournament. That was, I think, 8 months ago. That was the last
Yeah.
time I played ice. So
Well, as I tell the kids I coach, and you're closer to their age than my age, so is it's good to take a break sometimes.
for
Um,
sure,
because you'll never let it go, and on top of what you're doing for a living, with this company, um, you'll get back on it. You'll get back into it before you know it. You're gonna be, doing your Swift hockey TV commercials and stuff like that, and whichever else. So, excited to see what the future brings for Swift hockey. I'll make sure that this gets out to as many places in the States, because I know that you guys kind of with the Dragons Den and everything, it has a lot of Canadian media, but I know you guys, people are hearing about you guys down here, and we gotta spread the love for sure.
for sure.
So Zechariah, thank you so much for being with us on Cross Ice Pass, and we will talk soon.
All right, for sure. I appreciate it.
Wow, what a great conversation that I got to have with Zechariah. I can't believe he's only 21 and he's done so much. It's great to see a kid that's a dreamer, but also he thought to be an entrepreneur very young. And I think that it's very interesting. I was super interested in him just because my day job, I work for a company that actually works with businesses and leadership at businesses at large Fortune 500 companies to rethink their culture, their thinking, and what they do. And for a kid to be so far in front of that at such a young age is a very cool thing to see. And for him to do something that is against the status quo instead of making something ultra cool, no matter what the cost was, and for him to be empathetic to the fact that, and the story he told me about getting, feedback and getting emails from parents that are having a really hard time paying for their kids to play hockey because it's such an expensive sport is really impactful. And I can't wait to see what he has going on in the future. Really hoping I'm going to get my hands on one of his sticks, and we'll talk about it in a future episode. I mean, just ultra positive, ultra great, ultra happy that all this happened. Bravo to Swift Hockey. And if you haven't heard of Swift Hockey, I'll put the link down below for you guys to check it out, especially for you guys that listen to podcasts but might not have social media. Check out Swift Hockey. They make a pretty good product, and it's very affordable. $150 for a really high-end stick instead of, I'm seeing sticks now to $350, $400. It's unreal. Not affordable. And I refuse to pay that much because I'm not an NHLer that needs that kind of technology. But do I? I kind of want the technology, but I don't want to spend that kind of money and then break it. So, big things for Swift Hockey. Today's song is from a former colleague of mine, and his band Grits. Eric is the lead singer who used to work with me in the auction world. He still has been working in the art community for so many years. He's done very well there. But I used to run into him on football Sunday because where else does a kid from Middle Texas go to watch the Cowboys? Well, the Cowboys lost last week, and I think maybe we'll put this music up just for a little love for Texas because they are such diehard Cowboys fans. So their blend of country, soul, blues, and rock is something to check out. I'll put the link below to listen further. Don't forget, subscribe, comment. Guys, I have so much good stuff coming. There's a big tournament coming in April that I'm going to try to set up a live interview with. I've got some pretty amazing people in future episodes, and the ball's rolling. The snowball is getting bigger. It's been a pretty positive, pretty amazing, pretty happy week on the cross ice pass front for me, and I'm excited to see every week. I hope that that's how my week feels. So we've got more NHL legends coming. It's coming, guys. It's coming together. I've also got some great stories from some great people about mental health and how that really works for hockey, and how that's working in hockey, and how that's really helping people, how hockey's helping these people with some of these issues cope. So, all right, guys, that's the end of episode 18. Don't forget, I got Cross Ice Pass Classic coming soon. jerseys and swag and stuff like that is coming. There still is the coasters floating around. It's starting to happen. So I hope you enjoyed episode 18 as much as I did. I'm going to throw that puck right on your tape, and please don't miss the net. All right, folks, take care.